Tonight, students win prizes just by having a meal plan.
Plus, Troy students talk about art. Stay tuned for TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for September 17th, 2012. I'm Judson Garner.
And I am Bailey Majors. Thank you for joining us this evening. All this month, Troy University has been showcasing an installation exhibit in the Malone Gallery. Troy students were given the opportunity to learn about installations as a guest lecturer spoke at the closing of the exhibit. The Malone Gallery of Fine Arts has wrapped up the exhibit Diving into Surface and into Light. Georgia artist Casey McGuire visited Troy's campus to speak with students about her work and process as an installation artist.
I do installations, and most of my installations are derivative from my personal experiences, home, and understandings of home and house and those differences of structure.
An installation, by definition, is artwork that is it's designed within the space.
McGuire said her work was inspired by housing foreclosures in Georgia. Much of her work includes items such as dressers and old television sets that families had to leave behind as they were being evicted from their homes.
It's a narrative of where she lives in Carrollton, Georgia. It talks about the depression of that area.
People who are vacating or evicted out of these homes become transient. The objects that families left when they foreclosed their houses, I collected them off the side of the road and then I composed them into this installation.
McGuire also said that memories from her childhood helped inspire her work.
I'm interested in objects, how they start to placate to metaphor, to memory, and how they resonate with myself. And some of the televisions for me really reminiscent of 70s TVs that I had in my home as a child.
One Troy student said she enjoyed McGuire's showcase and was happy to be able to see the artwork.
I like her stories behind each thing and how it related to her childhood, and I found it very interesting. So I like that she found things on the side of the road and how she incorporated it with her story.
The next exhibit the Malone Gallery will showcase will be from painter Paul Jeans. That exhibit will open at the end of this month.
The recently opened Trojan Arena is a multi-million-dollar state-of-the-art facility, but among all the new technology, something a little more traditional and low-tech has found a new home. Trojan monuments are a familiar sight around Troy University's campuses. One thing most monuments have in common is that they just don't move. Well, tell that to this guy. Thursday morning, this Trojan was packed up and delivered to his new home, the Trojan Arena. And with this monument weighing over 5 tons, it's safe to say that this Trojan is not going anywhere anytime soon. The individual that knows this Trojan the best says he thinks that this new home is more suitable.
Where it was, the staircase kind of had the back part hidden. And you just, pieces like this need space.
Over the last decade, artist Larry Strickland has designed many Trojan monuments for Troy University. This particular monument was the first of those Trojan residents on the main campus.
I remember when we put it in Adams, they had the band, they had cheerleaders and majorettes. It's the first time I've ever had a piece unveiled with a band and majorettes. I thought this is really fun. Yeah.
This monument is the only one on campus carved completely out of wood by Strickland. Although wood carving is not his usual medium, he says that right away he could see the Trojan in what would look like just a pile of wood to most people.
Well, I'd always liked the wood. I guess it's a family thing, you know, just working in wood, but I always liked knots and free form pieces. And I was able to see figures in them and was able to carve them out.
Many Trojan fans will get their first chance to see the Trojan statue's new home when the basketball team opens their season on Friday, November 9th against Mississippi State.
Today, a few select students who have a meal plan through dining services got a little more than a hamburger and fries at lunch. Troy's dining services gave away prizes to students who have a meal through dining services. Select students drawn from a raffle won a selection of prizes including laptops and big screen TVs. Dining Services says today's giveaway was a good way to give back to the students who use their service every day.
We wanted to reward our meal plan holders, because our students, we wanted to get more students involved in buying the meal plan and enjoying our meal plan and the dining services. And we try to run promotions from time to time, and this just happened to be a great one.
Any student with a Troy University meal plan was included in the raffle drawing.
And now taking a look at news from around the state. In Mobile, authorities say they've arrested a teenager in a shooting death after he went to a hospital seeking treatment. Police say 16-year-old Brian Caldwin Robbins of Saraland is charged with murder in the death of 23-year-old Yvonne Lazon Lambert of Satsuma.
And in Brownsboro, a longtime Madison County pilot and a student have been identified as the victims in a plane crash that killed 2 people when an airplane went down at an airport event during an aviation enthusiast event. WAAY-TV reports that George Myers and 17-year-old Chris Schmidt died when a plane went down during the annual Moontown fly-in in Madison County.
And in Montgomery, prison officials are headed to the court to defend a long-standing policy that segregates inmates who have been tested positive for HIV. Alabama and South Carolina are the only states that segregate HIV-positive inmates.
Still to come on Troy TrojanVision Nightly News, a new round of the protests for the Occupy Wall Street movement have happened. We'll have that story more after the break.
But first, the Trojan football team played host to their first SEC opponent at home last Saturday. Danielle Percival will be in with the details on that, more and more in sports.
For the second week in a row, the Trojans won on the stat sheet, but not the scoreboard. I'm Danielle Percival. I'll give you a look at Saturday's game coming up.
When you're finished with your food or beverage cartons, toss it in the recycling bin. Because every carton is recyclable and can be turned into useful paper products. Put your carton in the bin with your other recyclables and let them start a new life. When the contents are gone, let the carton live on. Recycle your cartons.
Doctor and nurse.
I want to work in the NFL.
Troy University's College of Health and Human Services prepares students for high-demand careers of today and tomorrow. Careers offering attractive pay and the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of others.
My courses aren't just classwork. I've worked with the Department of Human Resources to put my skills to work with helping people. I couldn't think of anything else I'd rather be doing.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now for a look at what's happening across the nation and around the world, we'll go to Judson Garner at the Global News Desk. Judson?
Protesters are walking the streets of Lower Manhattan, giving a new voice to the Occupy Wall Street movement that began 1 year ago today. So far, hundreds have showed up compared to the thousands of last year, but occupiers say their movement is just as powerful as ever. Randall Pinkston has the story.
Occupy Wall Street marked its one-year anniversary in New York, where the movement began. Police arrested more than 100 protesters.
This is what democracy looks like.
Most marched through Lower Manhattan in small groups, pledging to disrupt commuters.
Taking this intersection, man. We're taking it down. We're shutting it down.
But police were out in force, vowing to keep the peace.
If you don't get on the sidewalk, you're going to be arrested.
Armed with plastic handcuffs. Protests are also planned for more than 30 cities nationwide. The grassroots movement is not as visible as it was a year ago when organizers camped out in Manhattan's Zuccotti Park. But Occupy Wall Street demonstrators claim their movement is still strong. The group is calling for an end to corporate greed and economic inequality.
If anything, there's greater disparity of wealth today than ever before. It's an issue that the country needs to come to grips with.
Occupy Wall Street protesters have been here in Zuccotti Park most of the day. They can stay as long as they like, but they can't sleep here. Critics of the movement say the group lacks focus and organization.
I feel that the people should simply go get a job or potentially, fall far away from bothering the people that are working on Wall Street because it's simply a career.
He says Occupy would be better served by taking their protests to Capitol Hill. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, New York.
Anti-American protests continue to spread over a movie on YouTube that Muslims find offensive. Hundreds took to the streets of Afghanistan's capital city following a series of attacks against U.S. troops in that country. Danielle Nottingham reports.
Hundreds of Afghans burned tires and battled police during protests over a movie that mocks Islam. The protesters got close to a large U.S. military base before riot police pushed them back and dispersed the crowd. The violence marked 7 days of anti-American demonstrations in 20 different countries. The protest in Kabul follows a string of attacks against U.S. and NATO soldiers in Afghanistan. Sunday, an Afghan police officer shot and killed 4 American service members. Friday, insurgents wearing U.S. military uniforms used rocket-propelled grenades and a suicide bomber to blast their way into an international base in Helmand province. 2 U.S. Marines died.
We will not lose sight of the fundamental mission here, which is to continue to proceed to assure a peaceful transition to Afghan security and governance.
Secretary of State Hillary Clinton spent the weekend working the phones. She called top officials in several countries to discuss the growing protests and security.
America can't turn our back now on these countries.
Monday, protesters also took to the streets in Pakistan and Lebanon. The leader of Hezbollah made a rare public appearance at a Beirut rally, calling on Muslims around the world to continue their outrage against the video. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, the State Department.
Election Day is 7 weeks away and the candidates are ramping up their attacks. President Obama is focusing on must-win states while his Republican challenger is trying to talk specifics about fixing the struggling economy. Big Out Shaban is at a Mitt Romney event in Los Angeles with the latest.
Hundreds of Hispanic business owners headed to downtown Los Angeles to hear Mitt Romney explain his plan for the economy.
Both parties have really not given the attention to small business that they should.
David Lazarga is worried about his construction company.
In this difficult economic times, access to capital is really a problem.
The Republican White House hopeful is reaching out to Latino voters as he talks up his plans for creating 12 million new jobs during his first term.
While national unemployment is at 8.1%, Hispanic unemployment, as you know, is over 10%. Over 2 million more Hispanics are living in poverty today than the day President Obama took office.
The Romney campaign says the speech in front of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce here in Los Angeles is part of a new push to give voters more specifics.
I'm going to put the federal government on track to a balanced budget by eliminating programs that are not absolutely essential.
Hello, Cincinnati!
In Ohio, President Obama told voters the Republican economic plan isn't the way forward.
The path we offer may be harder, but it leads to a better place.
On his 12th trip to the state this year, the president announced his administration is challenging subsidies China gives its auto parts makers that are costing American auto workers jobs.
It is not right, it is against the rules, and we will not let it stand.
President Obama is working to hold on to a lead in Ohio, a key swing state where hundreds of thousands of jobs are tied to the auto industry. Bigad Chaban, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And that'll wrap things up from the Global News Desk. To see more stories from across the country and around the world, such as who will be in the new panel of judges on American Idol, you can tune into TrojanVision Global News right after the nightly news. Now back to you, Bailey.
Thank you, Judson. And now Danielle Percival joins us for a look at sports. So Danielle, big weekend for Trojan athletics with the Mississippi State game. We didn't do as well as we had hoped, but we ended up breaking a record.
That's right, Bailey. 29,013 people were in attendance at the football game. That did set a school record, so great to see all those fans out there showing the team's support. Wasn't quite enough to pull them through with the victory, but let's take a look at the game.
Sounds good.
Saturday night was historic as the first SEC team visited Veterans Memorial Stadium. Troy put up 572 yards on the Bulldogs' 11th ranked defense. That's the most an SEC team had given up this season. Those 572 yards were more than the Bulldogs had given up in their first 2 games combined, but it takes more than yards to win. In front of a record-setting crowd, the Trojans once again racked up offensive yards, but were plagued by penalties and turnovers and suffered their second straight loss, losing 30-24 against Mississippi State.
We had plenty of chances to win this game, and that makes it hurt even more. I am not the least bit discouraged, except for the fact that the turnovers.
You can't win with 4 turnovers.
It's a game you should have won, that we could have won. If we just put an end to all the penalties and the mistakes and all the foolishness out on the field.
After being down 23-7 at halftime, the Trojans fought back in the second half, cutting the Bulldogs' lead to just 2 points early in the fourth quarter.
I got the feeling there in the middle stages of the third quarter that there wasn't any way they could stop us on offense.
That just shows us, as an offensive group that, nobody that we're going to see can really stop us.
But with 7 minutes to go in the game, the Bulldogs opted to go for it on 4th and 5 from the Trojans' 25 and stretched their lead back to 9 with a controversial touchdown.
We got a replay guy up there. I got to trust that the man upstairs is correct.
Blakeney said, however, if his team could have stopped the Bulldogs earlier in the drive, the outcome of the game could have been different.
Had we been able to kick it deep, we got the guy tackled, and we'd have got him a 3 and out. I don't have any question that we'd have been able to win the game.
Although the scoreboard read that Mississippi State beat Troy, according to Robinson, it wasn't so much that the Bulldogs beat the Trojans.
We've beaten Troy, 2 weeks in a row now. If we take care of the football, we're 3-0 right now.
The thing we've got to do is we got to learn how to beat Troy before we beat anybody else. But we are good enough to do just about anything.
The Trojans fall to 1-2 on the season and return to conference action this weekend, taking on North Texas on the road. After a pair of straight set wins at the ASU Invitational, the Trojan volleyball team went the distance against Maryland Eastern Shore, but fell short of the win. The Trojans fell to the Hawks 3-2 Saturday to wrap up the tournament in Montgomery. Troy lost by scores of 25-12, 20-25, 26-28, 25-18, and 15-9. Brianna Cullity set a school record with 12 total blocks thanks to 1 solo block and 11 block assists. Courtney Cohen led the way with 17 digs, while Alexandra Alexander and Blair Winston each posted 13. Offensively, Devin Von Pingel led the way for Troy with 9 kills and just 2 errors, followed by Cullity and Kayla Pickard, who each posted 8 kills. Troy returns to the floor on Tuesday when they play host to Florida A&M at Sartain Hall. The Trojans and Rattlers are set for a first serve at 6 p.m. The Trojan soccer team wrapped up their non-conference schedule Sunday afternoon with a home match against Mercer. The Trojans fell to the Bears 4-1 at the Troy Soccer Complex. Chelsea Williams scored the Trojans' lone goal on the day. Williams got the Trojans on the board in the 35th minute, converting on a corner kick. Here's Coach Chris Bentley on the loss.
I think it was more to do with what we were doing wrong. I think we had to run a play. I think we created a lot again, and we just didn't do what we needed to in our final third. We let ourselves down with some silly balls that put them in good situations, and that's where we're at.
The Trojans are back in action on Friday when they play host to Florida Atlantic at 3 p.m. at the Troy Soccer Complex. So Bailey, Judson, great to see all those fans out there to show support to the football team. They played down to the wire, almost got a win against an SEC opponent at home, but it was a great game nonetheless.
Absolutely, Danielle. They definitely played really hard.
And on another note, it was really nice to see our stadium packed out. So.
It was nice to see a full stadium.
Yeah, parking was a challenge.
That's true.
All right.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thanks, guys.
Coming up on Troy TrojanVision Nightly News, we'll learn about this year's entertainment options at Troy University's Davis Theater in Montgomery.
But first, we've seen sunny skies and some rain today. Do we need to keep an umbrella on hand, Brittany?
Looks like you may want to keep those umbrellas right handy. Take a weather at your, stay tuned for your local weather up next.
Be out there. Be out there. Be out there. Be out there.
Time was, kids did what came naturally. Spending free time running barefoot through the grass, wading knee-deep in streams, climbing to the tallest branch. But today, American kids are more likely found texting, watching TV, or gazing at a computer screen. They spend more than 7 hours in front of electronic media. Something essential has been lost: childhood's connection to the natural world. That's why National Wildlife Federation created the Be Out There movement. Kids move indoors causes a host of problems, from obesity to ADHD. But outdoor play can go a long way to improving kids' health, body, mind, and spirit. It helps them stay fit, enhances creativity and attention spans, and could even make them better students. Do your part. Be a part of Be Out There. There's a reason why they call it the great outdoors. Learn more at beoutthere.org.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now Brittany Drawdy joins us for a look at weather.
So Brittany, after seeing a pretty clear weekend, Sunday we saw those dark clouds come pouring in, and they kind of stuck around all day today.
Yeah, it was a good thing they stayed out of the way for the football game, but now they're starting to roll in and stick around for the first part of the week. But as we go into the week, we'll see a little bit of a change. Right now we can take a look at our campus snapshot. We're seeing rain right here in Troy. As of just the end of the afternoon, we're definitely experiencing this light rain. Going into our current conditions, we can see the light rain. Temperature 75 degrees, not too hot. Dew point at 70 degrees. Humidity at 85%. Barometer at 29.86 and steady. And winds coming from the south to southeast around 11 miles per hour and even gusts up to 19. For our today's stats, we can see the high 82, low of 71. Rain 0.20 inches right now. Sunrise 6:29 a.m. and a sunset at 6:46 p.m. Around the state, Mobile, definitely seeing clouds, 76, light rain there. Huntsville, cooler at 71, rain. Birmingham at 76, just overcast and cloudy right now. Montgomery, 79, seeing light showers. Troy at 75, seeing showers. Phoenix City, overcast at 74, and Dothan at 75. Most of Alabama is experiencing these light showers as these thunderstorms roll into coming in this evening. Current temperatures right now, we can see Florida's still warm, 88 in Tampa. 85 in Albany, but Birmingham cooling back down to 73. As we look across the maps, we can see current temperatures. We're actually seeing cooler temperatures up north, even seeing 50s. But as we go into the south, we're definitely still seeing that warmer weather. Current surface, we can see this is the showers we're experiencing right now. It's taking up the southeast, this low front right here, just steady, staying right over us. That's what's causing this weather, helping to keep these thunderstorms, the yellow and the orange we can see, and the green, to our west a little bit, but it's definitely headed our way, so be prepared as we go into this evening. We can see Birmingham, Atlanta, coming across the state of Alabama, covering us, and we'll head up to the northeast. Precipitation for the next 48 hours, what can we expect? 3 to 5 inches in North Alabama, 2 inches around Troy, locally here in North Florida. Tuesday, we can see the severe of it goes to the coast, but for us, we should be experiencing just a little bit of rain tomorrow. Wednesday moves out, goes to the west. Thursday, same thing. Friday, we should be clear going into the next weekend, just as this weekend was. 80% chance as we go into this evening. Winds coming from the south and low around 71. Tomorrow, 60% chance of those scattered thunderstorms coming through. It's going to stay windy. Coming from the wind west to southwest, about 14 miles per hour, we're going to be seeing a high around 80. Going to our 4-day forecast, we can see Tuesday, that percent of thunderstorms, high of 80, low of 61. Wednesday, high of 82 and a low of 58. Thursday at 85, low of 62, and a Friday high of 87. So Judson, we can see definitely going to be rain for the next couple days, definitely this evening, but as we go into the weekend, it's going to start just clearing back up into sunny skies, and we're actually going to be hitting the 50s for one of this evening, so it's coming into the fall.
Yeah, it looks like that rain's bringing in some cooler temperatures, which is kind of look forward to now. All right, thanks a lot, Brittany.
Thank you.